Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
Guyana accuses Canada of being involved in an attempt to overthrow its government. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Friday, January 11th. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. As the fallout from last month's no-confidence motion against the Guyana government continues, Canada is being accused of being part of an attempt to overthrow the David Granger-led administration. In a strongly worded letter to the Canadian High Commission, Foreign Affairs Minister Carl Greenidge made reference to the involvement of the High Commission's consular officer in escorting government backbencher and Canadian citizen Charandas Prasad to an aircraft hours after he supported the opposition motion that resulted in the collapse of the government. Airport officials have confirmed that the Canadian High Commissioner's security officer, Richard Beliveau, and a member of the opposition People's Progressive Party, Peter Ramsaroop, had obtained protocol passes to accompany Prasad to a Barbados-bound flight with connections to Canada. Minister Greenidge says the Guyana government was unaware of any consular functions which Beliveau was performing at the time, and that it was also unaware of any threat made on Prasad that would have required Beliveau to exert consular protection. He wrote that, quote, "The evidence suggests that the High Commission and by extension the sending state are complicit in an attempt to overthrow a sitting government which was democratically elected," end quote. The letter added that the act is a violation of the Geneva Convention and diplomatic and consular relations. The foreign minister said there were also several acts of omissions by the diplomat that are believed to have been part of the plan to bring down the sitting government. The government said that on Wednesday, the foreign minister summoned the Canadian High Commissioner to Guyana to a meeting and expressed government's concerns. However, she declined to comment on the matter. Earlier this week, the government and opposition issued a joint statement indicating their commitment to working together towards concluding matters surrounding the no-confidence vote, which is being challenged in court by the administration. And this is even as the PPP maintains its call for regional and general elections to be held by March. CARICOM countries are at odds over whether Nicolas Maduro should be recognized as Venezuela's president, as he was sworn in for a second term on Thursday following last year's disputed elections. On the same day of the inauguration, the Bahamas, Jamaica, Guyana, Haiti, and St. Lucia supported an Organization of American States resolution not recognizing the legitimacy of Maduro's second term. Dominica, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Suriname voted against the measure. The others either abstained or were not present for the vote. The OAS is calling for new presidential elections with all necessary guarantees of a free, fair, transparent, and legitimate process to be held at an early date attended by international observers. TVJ's Andrea Chisholm reports on the position of regional countries on the matter.
Thunderous applause for Nicolas Maduro as he takes the oath of office for a second six-year term in Venezuela, ignoring pressure from the international community. So on Thursday, the voices grew louder. The Permanent Council of the Organization of American States, OAS, voted not to recognize the legitimacy of Nicolas Maduro's new term. 19 countries voted in favor of the resolution, 6 against, 8 countries abstained, and 1 was absent. Among those in support,
Jamaica supports the resolution.
Bahamas, Guyana, Haiti, Dominican Republic, and St. Lucia joined Jamaica in supporting the resolution. Dominica, Suriname, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines were among the countries that disagreed. Grenada was absent, while St. Kitts and Nevis, Trinidad and Tobago, Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados, and Belize abstained. St. Lucia explained its position.
Contrary to the thoughts of some, this is a regional issue and not merely a national or domestic one. Speaking for my country, St. Lucia, we have seen an influx of arms and drugs with Venezuelan origins, as well as the illegal entry of Venezuelans into our country. An internal breakdown has influenced this. It is this that has caused us to implement visa restrictions, as the influx of bad actors has the potential to destabilize our already vulnerable nation. We urge Venezuela to please come back to the fold, back to the principles that ensure openness and democracy, and back to the table with your friends.
Other CARICOM countries were also vocal, but this time rebuking the OAS.
The delegation of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, for the record, also does not support the convening of today's special meeting of the Permanent Council. Mr. Chairman, the role of the Secretary General on this matter has set a bad precedent, not only for this organization, but for many international organizations, whereby the head, who is an international civil servant, should always be accountable to the membership, respect the sovereignty of a state, be an impartial player, and facilitate of dialogue and the peaceful settlement of disputes.
Well, although Jamaica voted against recognizing Maduro's presidency, a representative from its embassy in Caracas attended the inauguration. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs said it's a sign of Jamaica's interest in remaining engaged with Venezuela. St. Kitts Nevis Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris, who is CARICOM chairman, attended the swearing-in ceremony, and Trinidad and Tobago was represented by its Foreign Affairs Minister, Dennis Moses. 5 former foreign affairs ministers in Belize are supporting government's decision to take their border dispute with Guatemala to the International Court of Justice, the ICJ. They say it's become clear that no Guatemalan government is prepared to voluntarily accept Belize's territorial integrity. The former ministers issued a declaration this week in which they said they reached their position after careful consideration. More from Channel 5 Belize.
The coming together of 5 former ministers of foreign affairs from both sides of the political divide, including Prime Minister Dean Barrow, to take a unified position in favor of going to the International Court of Justice to resolve the Belize-Guatemala territorial dispute is historic. This important event, leading up to the April 10th referendum, transcends party lines. For them, it is a singular view being taken in the best interest of the country.
We need to put party politics aside, man. This is too big an issue. This is the nation. We're talking about our country now.
To seal the accord, each previous foreign minister, with the exception of Senator Eamon Courtney, has signed on to a 7-point declaration strongly urging a yes vote for Belize to take the claim before the ICJ.
After more than 50 years of arduous negotiations, it has become clear that no Guatemalan government will ever agree to voluntarily accept Belize's territorial integrity based on the 1859 treaty. 2, although Belize's borders are recognized and supported by the international community, the Guatemalan government has responded to that moral mandate with intransigent reaffirmations of its anachronistic claim to Belize's territory. The only certain way to get the Guatemalan government to recognize our legitimate border is through a binding ICJ order.
While that may be the conclusion drawn by erstwhile chief diplomats Assad Shoman, Said Musa, Dean Barrow, Godfrey Smith, and Lisa Shoman, there is a very real likelihood that the masses of voters will say no to the ICJ on referendum day.
Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has kept his word and has filed a lawsuit against opposition Member of Parliament Dr. Rudal Munilal. The lawsuit follows statements posted on social media regarding what has been dubbed the fake oil scandal. The attorneys for Prime Minister Rowley filed the claim form and the statement of case on Tuesday. They're claiming that Munilal last October had repeated outside of Parliament statements regarding the transfer of funds to a United States bank. They say the statements were made on Facebook and that as a well-known politician and attorney, Munilau knew or ought reasonably to have known that the defamatory words would have attracted maximum attention in the major news networks, locally, regionally, and internationally, and that they would have been republished. The Prime Minister's attorneys say their client is seeking damages for slander and libel, a retraction of the allegations, a personal apology from Munilau, and an injunction preventing him from repeating similar defamatory words about the Prime Minister. Still to come in Caribbean Newsline, a government move to fully fund the education of Jamaican students up to the age of 18. Stay with us.
Follow your heart to St. Kitts and make plans to join us at the 23rd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival. 5 days of world-class entertainment from Wednesday, June 26th to Sunday, June 30th, 2019. See Buju Banton live as he makes his epic return to St. Kitts. Also, French Montana and Davido. Popcorn and the legendary Smokey Robinson. This is just the first wave of announcements. Many more acts to come. For more information, log on to stkitsmusicfestival.com. The St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other. Over hills and valleys too.
This is not any regular festival where you just come to hear music. This is a diverse festival, the one and only of its kind, where we have music on display, we have our food, but we have so much of our culture. And right now, we also have some arts and crafts on display, and we're here with the Dominica Arts and Crafts Producers Association, DACPA, naturally Dominican. Good night, tell us your name and tell us what you have on display for people to purchase.
Jamaica's education minister wants government to fully fund the education of students up to age 18. Senator Rule Reid says he will be taking that to cabinet next Monday, and once the initiative is finalized, it will be implemented over a 3-year period. He says going this route would revolutionize Jamaica to make sure that each young person has at least an associate degree paid for by the state. The minister insists that the education sector must be revolutionized to prepare students for a modernized job market. Reid told the annual conference of the Council of Community Colleges of Jamaica that he would be meeting with its representatives to outline the feasibility of the public free education strategy. Over in St. Kitts and Nevis, 3 expert witnesses on Dominican law made presentations before Justice Trevor Ward QC on Thursday to help determine whether opposition leader Dr. Denzel Douglas, through his use of a Dominican diplomatic passport, is under allegiance to a foreign power. The expert witnesses provided by the government were Dominican attorneys Reginald Amor and Justin Simon, former Attorney General of Antigua and Barbuda. Both attempted to show that Douglas demonstrated his allegiance to Dominica when he traveled on his Dominican diplomatic passport. The lone expert provided by the defendant was Attorney-at-Law Gerald Burton, also a Dominican. Douglas has admitted to holding a diplomatic passport of Dominica, which is valid until July 29, 2020, and on which he has traveled. He has argued that he has not sworn any allegiance, taken an oath of allegiance, nor become a citizen of Dominica. The Attorney General's Chambers, however, argues that Douglas is in violation of Section 28 of the Constitution after filling out an application form for a passport of another country, being issued with said passport, and using that passport to travel. It's officially Carnival Season 2019, and while the revelry begins in one part of the Caribbean, the curtains come down on another festival. That's ahead in this week's Newsline Entertainment.
This week saw the launch of the 2019 Chutney Soca Monarch competition under the theme Fire and Ice. 34 artists will vie for the title, but only 9 will make it to the finals on February 19. Addressing the launch at Queen's Park Oval, the reigning monarchs Nishad Meru and Neval Chetlal called on fellow competitors to raise the bar this year.
Me personally, as an artist, I am not 100% happy with the direction that the music itself is going. And initially, Neval and I had actually decided not to defend this year. And at the last moment, I said to myself, you know what? If this is how I feel, maybe that's the worst thing I could possibly do, stay out, because maybe I need to continue to be a part of the change.
Organizer of the competition, George Singh, says he is impressed with this year's offering so far.
The music this year is impressive. At times, it has brought back memories of 1996, but with a significant difference. There is an energy and vibrance in the music that I have not seen in a long time, and I love it.
We head north to the Bahamas, where organizers of the annual Junkanoo Festival are stepping up their efforts to market the event globally. It's all in a bid to further develop the cultural and creative industries. The festival has been growing in popularity in recent decades, and organizer Angelique McKay, the leader of the Junkanoo Commandos, says the Bahamas is yet to capitalize on the full economic and cultural benefits of that sector.
We can only continue to ask, we can continue to write proposals, we can continue to show the success of our track record. We can even show now the number of heads that we've brought to beds as a result of just coming to view Junkanoo and to participate. So the orange economy is something that's growing, and we're able to tap into it as Junkanoo Commando.
The Junkanoo Commandos have traveled to 34 countries to promote the local festival, and so far it seems to be quite popular with visitors from the UK.
Yeah, look, we've travelled the world for different carnivals, and this isn't a carnival. I know it's Junkanoo, but it is so different. It's so rootsy.
It feels
it's
different.
So passionate.
The beat gets you. It just grabs you and hooks you, and you are part of it, and it's just so vibrant.
The first shack she took us to was in Saxon Shack, where we just saw the meticulous work, you know, cutting lots of strips of paper and making these costumes, but on a massive scale, and it just reduced me to tears.
And that's a wrap on entertainment this week. Join us next week for another edition of Newsline Entertainment.
Ahead in Newsline Sport, the former director at the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago dismisses reports suggesting wrongdoing on his part. Stay with us.
You're watching Caribbean Vibrations TV, and we're here at the beautiful Petition Hill development, speaking with the executive chef of Belmont Farm, Chef Christophe. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you.
First of all, I want to say thank you so much for that amazing spread that you gave to us. Everything is so fresh, so natural. Tell us about the farm program you guys have here.
Well, it's really based on the ingredients that are grown on the farm. So we base all the menu around what's available seasonally around the farm.
Barbados, renowned for its pristine beachfront and fantastic weather, continues to leave quite an impression on newcomers to the island and returning visitors. The Caribbean island, quite popular as a vacation hotspot, is not only beautiful due to its natural aesthetics. The island of Barbados continues to grow in popularity because of unique connections developed with our people, our culture. We can't wait to welcome you.
former director in the sport company of Trinidad and Tobago, Imran Jan, is rubbishing recent media reports that suggest he used his office to make unauthorized payments to the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board. He has sought to clear the air on what really happened during his tenure, a week before the local cricket board votes for a new executive. Attorney at law Gerald Ramdeen is also questioning the timing of the allegations against his client, as we hear in this report from TV6's Vinod Narwani.
There were recent newspaper reports that a Price Waterhouse investigation revealed alleged collusion between former sport company director Imran Jan and current Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board President Azim Basrat. The report further stated that Jan appeared to have been attempting to influence the provision of sport funding to the TTCB, and for doing so, he would have been rewarded with the position of assistant coach of Team Red Force. The allegations have incensed Jan, and he decided to act on it by holding a press conference at the Woodbrook offices of his attorney, Gerald Ramdeen. And it was the revered lawyer who opened the batting when addressing the media.
Having contributed as a player, as a community activist, as a community leader, as a coach, and as an individual that young people look up to in this country, because of his accomplishments of himself and his family, it is very disturbing, the report that was published both in the print and the electronic media with respect to allegations that have been made.
When Jan responded to the allegations, he vehemently denied attempting to approve payments to the TTCB for over $250,000.
All I merely did and seek to do to the TTCB, like I did with all the other NGBs, was to ensure that they get their monies in a timely manner. This could not have happened because the then chairman insisted that no payments were made to the TTCB, and we all know why. Let me also place on record that this coaching position was only for 4 games. I was the assistant coach for 4 games. I just wanted to place that on record.
Well, in responding to the allegations, the sport company chairman says they will not be going the legal route in the matter. He was speaking with TV6's Sergio Dufour.
Chairman of the sport company, Douglas Camacho, says he's still gathering the full information on the PricewaterhouseCoopers investigation into the sport company. However, he says that the current sport company board will not be taking the matter any further, regardless of the information revealed to be in it.
The issue between Jan and whatever, as far as the Pricewaterhouse report is concerned, really is not a matter worth pursuing. That was the legal advice he had, and we just, acted in accordance with the legal advice.
As for how the new slate under Camacho will be treating with issues coming out of the full report moving forward, Camacho says that they've implemented some of the recommendations which were in the final audit to prevent recurrences.
The other elements of the report which deals with, the final report anyway, I don't know about the March one, the one I came out with the final one, dealt with other issues about procurement and processes and, strengthening of internal controls and things like that, which the board has implemented and will continue to implement going forward.
The question remains, though, who ordered the PwC audit and was taxpayers' money used towards producing the report? In 2018, we questioned Dinanath Ramnarayan, who was the then chairman of the sport company when the audit was produced. Ramnarayan, who was also involved in a court case with the cricket board, was hesitant to reveal anything about the matter, but did mention that the sport company had issues with the governance of cricket in TNT.
But there's always room for improvement, and so I would expect that every organization that I have been involved in try to improve on governance and so on. I think that governance is an issue that for all organizations, and that is why we have been working diligently with cricket to try to improve the governance of cricket.
It remains left to be seen where the issue will go next.
A plethora of test hopefuls will have their chance to impress electors when they line up in two-day matches for Cricket West Indies President's 11 against the touring England starting next week. Batsman Sunil Ambrose is the only player in the current test squad included in the 12-man unit that's being led by Jamar Hamilton and will be feeling the pressure of expectation after 2 underwhelming series. He managed only 68 runs in 2 tests against India last October and 73 runs in another 2-test rubber against Bangladesh a month later. Ambrose averages 15 from 6 tests. He's one of 6 players in the squad with test experience, with the likes of batsman Jermaine Blackwood and Vishal Singh, all-rounder Raymond Reefer, and fast bowlers Miguel Cummings and Alzari Joseph all named. All eyes will be on Joseph, who looked back to his old self in helping bowl Leeward Islands Hurricanes to an emphatic 245-run victory over Trinidad and Tobago Red Force on Monday. Hamilton, meanwhile, has toured with the Windies recently without breaking into the final 11, and healthy scores against England could put him in contention for a test debut. Over to the Cayman Islands, where the National Squash Association head coach is stepping down. Mark Challoner is calling it quits on the job he has held for 6 years. Cayman 27's Jordan Armanese has that story.
As Brown University men's squash team hits the court at the South Sound Squash Club, Mark Challoner looks back on 6 years of youth development after stepping down as national coach just a few weeks ago.
I mean, I really enjoyed working with all of the kids. I mean, especially the national teams. There's various really good players come through such a small place.
And much like many of Cayman's national athletes and coaches, life took precedent over Challoner's responsibilities for a sport and a program he loved.
We actually had our third child, which obviously adds a lot of different dynamic to home life, family life. So part of my thinking was that because I have quite a flexible job, working life, actually quite like to be home for after school and like meal times, things like that.
But who will step up in his absence? Four-time national champion Cameron Stafford says he's putting aside his pro career to pitch in.
You know, at the end of the day, the program must go on. You know, I'm one of these people that want to be very passionate towards the juniors, and you know, I'm one of the most active coaches in the Cayman Islands as it stands. I've been, you know, getting on court with juniors every day, 7 days a week. And, you know, I've just been helping them try to get the game to the next level. So I've been working around the clock with that.
And while the Cayman Islands National Squash Association decides on who to hire next, Stafford says he wants to lead the junior program alongside doubles partner and new squash manager Marlene West.
And that's the sport. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
Follow your heart to St. Kitts and make plans to join us at the 23rd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival. 5 days of world-class entertainment from Wednesday, June 26th to Sunday, June 30th, 2019. See Buju Banton live as he makes his epic return to St. Kitts. Also, French Montana and Davido. Popcorn and the legendary Smokey Robinson. This is just the first wave of announcements. Many more acts to come. For more information, log on to StKittsMusicFestival.com. The St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other.
So we rely on journalists like you to tell us what's going on. So please tell us what is going on.
And that's quite an expectation. Maybe I will not be able to. Look, it's true. It's true that we are, when it comes to the struggle against Israeli domination.
Again, the major developments of this day: Guyana accuses Canada of being involved in an attempt to overthrow the government. And in sport, former director at the sport company of Trinidad and Tobago, Imran Jan, rubbishes media reports that suggest he used his office to make unauthorized payments to the TNT Cricket Board. And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport round the clock, subscribe to CanonNews.com. And for more of our programming, log on to CaribVision.tv and check out our YouTube channel. We'll be back here again next Monday. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and have yourselves a good night.